kiss you. Take my arm.
60 years is long enough for almost anything to be forgotten. A person, a place, a whole year, most of the time.
I've come to talk with you again.
1966 didn't get that treatment. 10 songs came out of that single year and refused to age the way everything else does. They didn't fade into remember that old song.
Because a vision saw and the people bowed and prayed.
They just stayed unforgettable, decade after decade, like the 60 years never happened at all. 10 of them are waiting for you tonight.
Of silence.
And one nearly didn't survive its own recording session, a song so fragile the band almost threw it away.
Creeping, lifting, and the vision.
And it went on to become one of the most expensive records ever made. That's later. There's also a title that got changed by a record label without the bands ever agreeing to it.
And in the still remains
A guitar solo that ended with an instrument set on fire in front of a crowd that had never seen anything like it. And a song that only became a hit because a producer secretly rebuilt it behind the songwriter's back.
in the words that it was forming.
Every one of these started as something small: a bathroom with the lights off, a cheap harmonica, a broke songwriter with nothing left to lose, and somehow none of them stayed small. Let's start at the bottom of the list. Number 10, The Loving Spoonful, Summer in the City.
Hot town, summer in the city, back of my neck getting dirt and gritty.
And babe, don't you know it's a pity the days can't be like the night.
Picture pavement so hot it seems to breathe, a fire escape instead of a beach,
Doesn't seem to be a shadow in the
restlessness with nowhere to go until night finally lets the air move again.
city. All around, people looking half dead, walking on the sidewalk harder than a match.
No ocean breeze, no green lawn, just brick heat trapped between buildings and a radio doing the job the weather won't. That trap then released feeling is the whole song. John Sebastian built the misery of the verses,
People looking half dead, walking on the sidewalk.
but it was his 17-year-old brother Mark, still in high school at the time, who wrote the bridge that suddenly opens the entire track up at night.
A bus stop, running up the stairs, gonna meet you on the rooftop.
The band almost cut his part, unsure a teenager's contribution belonged next to the rest.
Summer in the city, cool town, meeting in the city.
It's the piece that made the song breathe. Here's the detail most people miss.
Town, summer in the city, back of my neck getting dirt.
Those car horns in the middle of the track aren't a sound effect pulled off a shelf. They're real New York City traffic, recorded on the actual streets and dropped into the mix.
Girl, come on, that's all.
Because Sebastian wanted the city itself to play an instrument on his own record. It went to number 1, and 60 years later it's still the unofficial anthem blasting out of open windows every July. The sound of a city that refuses to cool down. Where that song is a city too restless to sleep, this next one is a heart too quiet to speak. Number 9. The Association, Cherish.
To someone who can cherish me as much as.
This one lives in a bedroom with the lights off. The kind of night where you rehearse a conversation you'll never actually have, in every word somebody almost said and didn't.
Cherish is the word.
Terry Kirkman wrote it about a woman he'd loved silently for years without ever telling her. The song became the confession he couldn't make out loud in real life. The rest of the band almost didn't record it at all. It felt too soft, too slow, next to the harder sound coming out of 1966. And some of them worried it would make the group look old-fashioned before they'd even had a real hit. It reached number 1 anyway, staying there for weeks.
all the feelings that I have fighting here for you.
And became the song people played at weddings for the next 6 decades. The one couples still request when they want to borrow someone else's nerve to finally say what they can't say themselves. Kirkman didn't reveal who the song was really about for years, and by the time he did, decades had passed. The confession arrived so late it had already outlived the moment it was written for.
Oh, I could say
Do you still know every word of that one by heart? Where Cherish never found the courage to speak, this next one walks out the door without asking permission. Number 8. Nancy Sinatra. These boots are made for walking.
One of these days these boots are gonna walk. You've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin'.
This is the sound of a door closing behind someone who isn't looking back, a suitcase already packed before the argument even finished.
And you keep thinking.
Everyone expected Frank Sinatra's daughter to sound sweet. Her producer, Lee Hazelwood, told her to sing it low and flat instead, like someone who was already gone before the song even started.
Box of matches. You keep saying you got something.
That flatness is what makes it feel dangerous instead of dramatic. The session musicians behind her were some of the most in-demand players in Los Angeles.
Something you call.
The same circle of studio musicians quietly playing on half the hits of the decade, though almost nobody watching the charts knew their names. Even Frank Sinatra reportedly wasn't sure the sound would work for his daughter, expecting something closer to the pop ballads she'd already tried and failed to turn into hits.
One of these days these boots.
It became her first number one, stepping fully out of her father's shadow in under 3 minutes. And it's been the walkaway anthem in films and ads ever since, the sound every woman reaches for the moment she's finally had enough.
You ain't had these boots are made for walking, and that's just what.
Where these boots is a woman walking toward her own life. This next one is about people nobody walked toward at all.
Gonna walk all over you.
Number 7. The Beatles, Eleanor Rigby. No guitars, no drums, just strings and 2 voices. And a loneliness so specific it barely feels like fiction. It's the empty chair at a table set for 2. The wedding dress left in a drawer nobody opens.
Where do they all come from?
Paul McCartney built the character from a name he half remembered off a real gravestone in a churchyard he used to walk past as a teenager.
They said, look at him working, darning his socks in the night.
And a face he imagined sitting alone in every empty pew he'd ever seen. The lonely priest in the song was almost named after McCartney's own father before he changed it at the last moment.
Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the...
Worried it would feel too personal, too close to home to sing on a record millions of strangers would hear.
The face that she keeps in a jar by the door.
George Martin's string arrangement gave it the chill of a church nobody visits anymore. It reached number 1 in the UK.
Comes near the grave. No one was saved.
And it's the song schools still teach and choirs still perform when they want an audience to sit with a silence they can't look away from.
He walks from in a dream, waits at the window, wearing...
Where Eleanor Rigby is a loneliness nobody notices, this next one is a heartbreak nobody can hide. Number 6. Percy Sledge. When a man loves a woman.
Two big hit records in a row, Mr. Percy Sledge. When a man.
This is the sound of a man losing an argument with his own heart and knowing it. He cut it live, in one take, in a small Alabama studio. his voice cracking in places a more careful singer would have smoothed over because the crack was the truest part of it. He was living through the exact heartbreak he was singing about, a relationship falling apart in real time while the tape rolled. The horns on the original recording are slightly out of tune, a mistake the producer noticed immediately and almost re-recorded before deciding the imperfection was exactly what made the take feel real instead of rehearsed.
He could never walk the dime, trying to hold on.
It reached number 1, and for 60 years it's closed out slow dances at the end of the night.
Well, this man lies in never.
The song that still makes an entire room go quiet at the same moment, every time.
She can do no.
Where that song is devotion at its most helpless, this next one turns devotion into a promise you can shout. Number 5. The Four Tops, Reach Out I'll Be There. This is the friend who shows up at 3 a.m. without being asked twice, the promise you make before you even know what it will cost you. Motown's writers built it on a rhythm that marches instead of grooves, underneath a lyric about being someone's safety net no matter what. Levi Stubbs pushed his voice past where it was comfortable, straining on purpose instead of smoothing it, because the song needed to sound like effort, like someone actually reaching for you across the noise. The label almost held it back. It sounded darker and stranger than the polished, radio-friendly records Motown usually built its reputation on, and executives worried it broke the formula that had made the label so reliable. They released it anyway. It reached number 1, and it's the song stadiums still play before kickoff. The one that turns 40,000 strangers into a single voice for 3 minutes straight, proof the label's fear had been backwards the whole time. Still to come, the song that closes this list tonight came out of a partnership two people believed was finished for good, stitched back together by a producer neither of them asked permission from. Where Reach Out promises to catch you, this next one wants to burn the whole world down instead.
I see a red door and
Number 4. The Rolling Stones, Paint It Black. This is the version of grief that doesn't cry quietly, the kind that wants the sun itself to stop shining out of spite. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards wrote something closer to a funeral march than a pop single, a wish to paint the whole world the color of your own grief. Brian Jones had been experimenting with a sitar after hearing one on a Beatles record, and what started as an experiment became the track's entire nervous system, the sound that turned sadness into something closer to dread. Even the title wasn't fully the band's choice. The comma that appears on the original single Paint It Black was added by the record label, not the band, and the Stones never intended it to be there at all. It reached number 1, and 2 decades later it became the closing song of Full Metal Jacket. Playing over the credits like the only honest reaction anyone had left. Where Paint It Black wants to burn everything down slowly, this next one just wants to burn fast. Number 3. The Truggs, Wild Thing.
Wild Thing.
This is the sound of wanting someone you know is bad for you and deciding you don't care tonight. Reg Presley picked up a cheap harmonica in a cramped London studio and blew 3 notes nobody had planned, and the band followed him somewhere they hadn't rehearsed.
Wild Thing.
It was recorded in a single afternoon and released the same week, with no time for anyone to overthink it into something safer. The song wasn't even written for the Troggs. Originally, songwriter Chip Taylor had written it for a completely different group first. It only found its true home once Presley's harmonica took over. It reached #1, and a year later a young guitarist named Jimi Hendrix closed his set at the Monterey Pop Festival with it, ending his performance by setting his guitar on fire in front of a crowd that had never seen anything like it.
Come on, love you. But I wanna know
60 years later, it's still the first song bar bands everywhere learn 3 chords, proving a great song needs nerve more than polish. Where Wild Thing was built in a single afternoon, this next one took months to build and nearly fell apart in the process.
Wild Thing, think I...
Number 2. The Beach Boys, Good Vibrations.
Placed upon her head.
This is the one from the opening, the song that almost didn't survive its own recording. It's the feeling of a summer that seems to glow from somewhere just out of frame, warm and slightly unreal. Like memory instead of weather. Brian Wilson spent months chasing a sound only he could hear. A strange electronic instrument called the tannerin standing in for a theremin, a cello playing where a guitar would normally sit, a bass line that seemed to walk in circles instead of forward. He recorded pieces across 6 different studios with 17 different musicians, scrapping entire finished sections and starting over more than once, and he didn't hear the whole thing assembled until the final mix. His own bandmates thought he'd lost his grip completely, and even Wilson himself wasn't sure until the last moment that the pieces would ever add up to a real song. It became the most expensive single ever recorded at the time, reached #1, and it's still studied by producers today as proof that obsession, pointed in the right direction, can build something nobody else could hear coming. Wilson himself later called it a pocket symphony, a phrase that sounds modest until you remember it took 6 studios and 17 musicians just to fit that symphony into someone's pocket. And now, the song that closes this list, the broken partnership we teased earlier, put back together by someone who never asked permission. Number 1. Simon and Garfunkel, The Sound of Silence. This is 2 a.m. honesty, the thoughts that only show up once the house goes quiet and there's nobody left to perform for. Paul Simon wrote it alone in a bathroom in the dark, because the tile gave the best echo, turning insomnia into something that sounded almost like prayer.
And the sign said the words.
When it first came out as a quiet acoustic track, it barely made a sound of its own.
Prophets are written on the subway.
And the duo split up, believing the song had failed. Paul moved to England. Art went back to school. Both of them convinced the song, and maybe the group was finished for good. Then a producer named Tom Wilson took the original tape without telling either of them, added electric guitar, bass, and drums, and released it behind their backs.
Of silence, people hearing without listening.
Paul Simon reportedly found out the song had become a hit the same way everyone else did, hearing it unexpectedly on the radio, not recognizing it as his own song at first because it had changed so much without him.
disturb the
It shot to #1, brought the two of them back together after they'd already said their goodbyes, and it's still finding new listeners every few years. Used to close out a landmark film the following year.
when my eyes were stabbed by the flash.
Rediscovered after hard news cycles, covered again for new generations who weren't even born the first time it topped the charts.
Take my arm. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
The song people still reach for at 2 in the morning when they need to sit with the parts of themselves they spend all day avoiding. 60 years on,
To the neon god they made.
none of these songs asked to be remembered. They weren't built to last this long. Most of the people who made them didn't expect to still be talked about 6 decades later.
People bowed and prayed.
Some of them didn't even expect the songs to chart at all. They just kept being true year after year.
In my brains of silence.
Room after room until remembering them stopped feeling like nostalgia and started feeling like keeping a promise nobody wrote down.
Lefting and the vision.
Which one of these is still playing somewhere in the back of your mind right now, even after all this time? Tell me which one, and tell me where you were the first time you heard it. Will be right here reading every single one.